Today, I'm going to answer the fishing question I get asked most often, which is, where do I go to catch fish? More specifically, where do I go to catch big fish or like big catfish? I have quite a bit to say about this, and make sure to stick around to the end, and I'm going to give you the best piece of advice I have for catching big fish. So I'm going to take the time to tell you a little bit about myself, and this is going to help make what I have to say about finding somewhere to fish relevant. See, I grew up in Western Kentucky, to where, you know, our idea of fishing was about 90% fishing strip pits. I went to Kentucky Lake once when I was a kid, and I think I went to the Green River like once when I was a kid. So it wasn't my idea. It wasn't really like fishing rivers, fishing Kentucky Lake. So unfortunately, being in that mindset of wanting to fish strip pits or strip pit style lakes when I was in Northwest Indiana didn't really mesh up. So if you've moved somewhere and you're looking for a spot to fish, but you grew up fishing, you know, like if you were like me and you grew up fishing small lakes, or say you grew up fishing big rivers, and you move somewhere where there's not the strip pits or there's not the big rivers, what I'm going to ask you to do is break yourself out of that mindset of looking for the spots that you grew up fishing. Because wherever you're living, and if you're like me, you need to go fishing every so often to just feel right. You know, you have to start. Oh, they got a bite. Oh, this riverbank is full. I'm out here at the Cannelton Dam. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rods in the water. They've got a bunch of rods in the water. People past them have a bunch of rods in the water. We had people skiing. This is all part of how I like to do my videos, sitting out here waiting for the big bite. I've said it before, I do have a couple of special guests, because normally I'll ask you, the viewer, who's not even watching live, to tell me if I get a bite. But I've got my brother-in-law and my nephew here, and they'll keep an eye on these rods behind me or whatever. So, like I was saying, you want to break out of that mindset of, I have to fish the spots that I grew up fishing. All right. So eventually I moved to southern Indiana, and I'm right there on the Ohio River. I'm used to fishing the small ponds. I've never fished a river like this. I did fish Lake Michigan a little bit at the tail end of my time living in Northwest Indiana. And that's when I realized how big a mistake I was making, not taking advantage of the best water that's close to you. So when I moved to this area, I had quite a few people tell me, you know, there's nothing in the Ohio River. It's just a bunch of junk fish or whatever. And people will tell you things and they'll be wrong, because they're wrong. I've caught so many amazing fish out of here, and so have so many other people. I've also lost a boot. If you really kept up with these videos, you might have seen one of those. You might see it again tonight. It's pretty muddy through here. We get one of these going, we're gonna have to get out there to get it. That's all shallow right there. So that's my first piece of advice, is fish the best water that's available. So all that being said, now you actually have to find somewhere to go. Like, you're ready to go to the best spot, but you're not sure. Nobody's giving you. When I first moved to southern Indiana, the advice I was given is, I lived here for a couple of weeks, and the guy's telling me, oh, well, you go where the old bank used to be, and then you take a right. I said, oh, is the old bank still sitting there? He said, oh, no, it's been torn down for about 15 years. I'm like, I haven't even lived here for 15 days. How am I? And then he repeated himself. Like, he's just like, well, it's just everybody knows where the old bank used to be. And I'm like, whatever. This is the part you got to embrace about finding the new fishing spot, is the adventure of it. So I went, just because I didn't know where the old bank used to be. I just went and looked. It's water. If you drive around long enough, you'll find water. It's not that big a deal. So I'm assuming that you're going to be looking for bigger water. Okay. One thing you can do is just Google state parks near me. And that, like right here in Indiana, we have state parks all across the state. That'll bring up areas you can fish. Not a lot of our state parks have good bank fishing. You know, they'll have like where they launch the boat and a few feet on each side to fish, but they don't all have where you can get completely around. Lincoln City's pretty good for bank fishing. There's a few others. And then the next thing I'm going to suggest, especially like if you've got big water, go to a boat ramp. All right, fish off the side of the boat ramp. Be respectful to the boaters. I think I talked about this in the last video. But this is the thing, is when you start fishing in places that people are, people have gotten out of the old school fishing mentality to where they don't want to, they want to keep their secrets. You know, in today's world, we tend to be a lot more friendlier about that sort of thing. You have so many people just wanting to stay inside, and we like for people to do what we like to do. You know, it's just kind of that way. So if you're out fishing where people are at, where they're fishing, where the boats are coming in and out of, you're liable to get advice on an actual better fishing spot than just the boat ramp. And not all boat ramps are created equal. The boat ramp that I'm always fishing there in Grandview has a real nice creek. In some areas of the country, it'd be considered a river. Right next to it, it holds fish. The fish get replenished. They come in and out of that creek. They're always feeding. The next spot would be a dam. And you could hit the dams, whether it's like a river, like you find. Now this dam, where I'm at today out here on the Cannelton Dam, is not the easiest spot to find. I had to be told how to get here. When I first moved to this area, my Uncle Mike had come down, and somebody told us where the Newburgh Dam was at. Great fishing from the bank, you know, all that sort of thing. And he gave us a general idea of how to find it, and we spent, I believe, 12 hours just driving along the river, running into roads that didn't get there and had to turn off and turn back on and turn off and turn back on to find the spot. But man, when we found it, we caught so many fish out of that spot over the years. And one of the great, you know, it was just an enjoyable day because it was like that adventure part of, I've got a lead on a spot and we just done everything in our power. You know, it was the most important thing for us to do that day was we're going to find this spot because we're going to stop fishing in these crappy spots we're fishing in, and we're going to go where big fish live, and we caught big fish there. So today I'm fishing with one of my favorite fishing partners. This is my brother-in-law, Brandon. He's in from Georgetown, Kentucky, right? Yep. You got to find spots to fish out there.
Got to find places to fish here.
You managed to find a place to fish while you were in Ohio, and your buddy caught a real nice fish.
Oh yeah, Aiden.
And entered it into the Fish of the Year contest, Fish of the Month contest. Real nice fish there, Mr. Aiden. So it's time to announce the Fish of the Month winner, not the Fish of the Year winner, for June 2024. Who we got, Brandon?
It is Nolan. Congratulations.
Nolan is a two-time runner-up for Fish of the Year, one-time winner, multiple-time Fish of the Month winner. One went to Luzerne Lake last year and won one of their fishing contests and come home with a freaking BMX bike.
Awesome.
My man Nolan knows a little something about fishing. Yeah. That being said, if you have not taken the opportunity to enter the Jeff Fishing Vlog Fish of the Month, Fish of the Year contest, not affiliated with Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, none of those people. If you'd like a set of rules, let me know. If you send an entry, I'll send you a set of rules. All that being said, send a photo of a fish you caught this year, you or your child this year, to this email address. I think I can get this pulled off up there, over there,
or
down here, over there maybe. I'm not real good about making that appear on camera where I point.
But if we point here and it shows up there, still click.
Right there.
Or click here.
Or you can send it to me to the Jeff Fishing Vlog Facebook page. You can send it to me if you know me personally. You can send it to me through Messenger that way. I'm on Instagram, but not very often. I just started a Twitter account, but I don't even know if you can send people pictures on Twitter. I don't know much on Twitter. My old nephew had talked me into. He's like, nobody catches
TikTok.
fish on. Do what?
TikTok.
TikTok. I said Twitter. TikTok. He said, nobody catches fish on TikTok. They just talk about fishing. He's like, you take videos of catching fish. I need you on TikTok so people can see fish being caught. I was like, all right, that might be
Great idea.
That might work. So if you want to look for Jeff Fishing 6 on TikTok, if you prefer TikTok. I don't think YouTube would like me sending people to TikTok, but you can follow some of my videos there. I'll probably be posting stuff you've already seen because I've got a pretty good catalog. So like, I can post. You get a good start there on TikTok. So anyway, let's get back to this video. Brandon may have a few pieces of advice about actually finding good fishing locations.
A lot of times when I go to new places, I've been to a lot of different states, so I got to fish a lot of different places. One of the easiest ways that I ever did that was went ahead and checked Google Maps, found myself a piece of water and said, well, that looks like the place, let's go see.
And you just go adventuring.
And you just go adventuring.
You just go.
And you find your body of water, get out there, give it a couple toss and see what happens.
Yeah. And when you find that spot, it is just so gratifying. It's so satisfying. Especially when nobody's told you. Just when So at this point, I hope you understand, and I'm going to just recap. Google for your state parks, city parks, state parks. They're gonna. It's just a good place to start if you're not sure where to fish. Start looking at any of the big bodies of water around you, be it rivers or lakes, and then start at the boat ramps and start looking for bank access near the dams. Okay, so that'll have you covered. You know, getting started, and then you start talking to people in the community. And even if you're not sure what style to fish when you get there, just go and learn. You know, it'll be, like I said, it's an adventure. Just embrace the adventure part of it. And this is my 2 pieces of advice for catching big fish. The first one is whole live bluegills. I've used them in ponds, I've used them on rivers, I've used them in lakes, and they deliver. They may catch smaller fish than you would think they would, but I've seen, you know, big bass caught off of them. Of course, you know, the big flathead caught off. You know, I get tongue-tied sometimes. Anyway, the big catfish caught on it, the big gar caught on it. So the whole live bluegill, and then the number one, and it's just more important than anything else, is preservation. You just have to keep at it. I caught that flathead a few weeks ago, and it was my second biggest flathead I ever caught. It was like an inch smaller than my biggest flathead, and it had got me thinking, because I like to feel like, oh, I'm catching these big fish all the time, right? Except for 2 years ago, I caught the 1 10-pounder and the gar. Last year, I think I caught just a couple of 10-pounders. This year, so far, I've just caught like the 1 10-pounder. These big fish are not, for a lot of us, they're not just something you catch every single time you go. So you just have to stick with it, and it's just persevere. You just have to stick with it. And why not? It's fishing. Fishing's fun. As far as I can tell, I enjoy it, even if I get stuck in the mud and fall on my face or something, get my Jeff Fishing Vlog hat tilted sideways. I do have a special guest. He's getting ate up by gnats. Come here, Nathan. Live on Facebook. If you don't follow, if you're on Facebook, go over to the Jeff Fishing Vlog on Facebook, or I'll leave a couple of links to Facebook pages, a couple of my favorite fishing spots in the area. If I can find a way to leave the locations, I'll do that. Also, Nathan fumbled this last part, which all of my longtime viewers, I've been told it's like their favorite part. We're going to see if he fumbles it this time or not. He's been on the Jeff Fishing Vlog once before. Twice? Three? Not counting the live. Because you were Scott County Park, and you got to remember you're talking loud like you're talking to an old person.
Yes.
Yes, all right.
And then the one at the
you got
did we record it, of course?
No. We
Did
did
record another time?
we did but I don't think I was able to make a, no, we did. I made a video, I think, of that at the golf course. He's been on here a couple times, so he should know. And he watches every one of his uncle's Jeff Fishing Vlog videos, right? Like, just religiously, like, as soon as it posts, that's my first watch, is Nathan's right on it, right? So, all that being said, hey Nathan, when's the best time to fish?
Anytime.
That's right.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching.